Hey there. So I've been watching the news like all the rest of us, and I'm starting to wonder, is Derek Chauvin a narcissist? You know, the guy who killed George Floyd with his knee? I'm wondering if he's a narcissist, and I'm going to be breaking it all down for you right here in this video. Hi, I'm Rebecca Zung, and I've been recognized as a top 1% attorney. I am a narcissist negotiation expert. I teach people how to negotiate with narcissists. And if you are so ready to smack down that narcissist, to turn the tables, to shift the dynamic, to feel powerful and in control, then just go ahead and subscribe to my channel and you'll get all the amazing updates that I give. So you have to subscribe and also hit that notification bell. Okay, so I'm watching this Derek Chauvin thing and I'm like, why are we even doing a trial? Why are we even having a conversation about this anymore? I mean, it's clear what happened. We all know that he put his knee to George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes, and that's how the guy died. And not only did he did it in front of many people. Lots of people were there watching, including 3 other police officers, none of which said, hey, buddy, maybe get your knee off the guy's neck. You know, I mean, so the 3 other police officers are on trial as well. But let's talk about this Derek Chauvin guy, because why are we even having a trial? Why are we spending money on this guy? Why are we using taxpayer resources, including the courtroom and paying the judge and paying the prosecutors and paying the bailiffs and all the other people that are working day in and day out and getting paid by taxpayers because this guy, this scumbag, decided that he's not going to plead guilty, right? Why didn't he plead guilty? Who knows? But we're going to get to that in just a minute. Okay, so let's talk about what's actually, what he's being faced with right now. He is facing 3 different charges right now. So he's got second-degree murder, second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Those are the 3 things that he's charged with. He's not charged with first-degree murder because that would have to be premeditated. They'd have to show that he had been planning that for days and days and days, or that he, in the intent of his mind, he set out that day to kill George Floyd, which obviously is not the case. That's why it's been dropped down to second and third degree murder, and even second degree manslaughter, which would be more like he didn't mean to do it. It just happened, something like that. Second degree murder carries the heftiest charges. That's he could face up to 40 years in prison for that. It also requires the highest burden of proof. He'd have to prove, or the prosecutors would have to prove, that not only did Chauvin cause George Floyd's death, which we know that he did, but he did it while also trying to commit another felony offense, which in this case, they're saying is assault. So it's a little bit more difficult, another kind of extra layer in that, which makes it a little bit more difficult. Why wasn't there a plea deal? Well, apparently a plea was offered to him, but William Barr, who was the attorney general at the time, rejected the plea arrangement that they were discussing. He was worried that it was too lenient because obviously there's a lot of public outcry with regard to this particular incident. And he thought that if he agreed to this particular plea deal, that there would be rioting in the streets even more so than there already have been. Okay, so you go down through the charges. The third degree murder carries a penalty of 25 years. And they are basically trying to reject that as well. So they're going through the different charges. There's a final charge of second degree manslaughter, has the lowest burden of proof, carries a maximum penalty of 10 years. Prosecutors would have to prove that Floyd's death was caused by Chauvin's negligence in creating an unreasonable risk and consciously taking chances of causing death or great bodily harm to another. Okay, so those are the charges that he is facing. But let's talk about whether or not there's something psychologically wrong with him. Is this guy a narcissist, or is there something that's even worse going on? One of the articles that I found when I was doing research on this was quoting FBI Assistant Director Tom Fuentes, who, I guess he's a former assistant director. He's been appearing on various news programs and he's been doing some interviews and things like that. And he analyzed the video of Floyd's killing. And he said, and I quote, "Start to finish, in that 9 minutes, you see a murder in progress." Okay. And so this guy's now vice president at Morris and McDaniel, a firm that does psychological testing for police applicants around the world. He said this is the worst case of police brutality that he's seen in more than 30 years of law enforcement. And that Derek Chauvin, who's now charged with the things that we mentioned, appeared to know exactly what he was doing. He said, and I quote again, "It was deliberate. He's entirely in control." Fuentes said, you have a 9-minute video of someone having the life suffocated out of them for no reason, no resistance, no justification. He said, as he watched the video, he recognized that he is a classic sociopath exhibiting extreme narcissism. And if you agree with Mr. Fuentes on this, give me a hell yes in the comments right now. He said, you have someone who has no regard for anyone else. He has no regard for the subject he's trying to arrest, no regard for the public at large, no regard to the reputation of his fellow officers that are with him at the scene, as well as the 800,000 police officers across the country. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. What does that sound like? So we also call this malignant narcissism, by the way. And if you want to know more about that, check out my video on the most dangerous type of narcissist. But going on, in the general population, Fuentes said research shows that, probably at least 1 in 10 people are narcissists, maybe more. I've heard statistics up to 16%. But apparently the people who apply to be police officers, that number is actually a lot higher. If you want to give a guess, what do you think? Yeah, 40%, 4 in 10. So he said the key to stopping police brutality is actually in the application process by doing psychological testing on these guys, which is what he's now doing. So, he makes the point that law enforcement is being stained by the bad actions of a few, which is probably true, but that's how it usually is now, isn't it? So, but he goes on to state, which is something that I've said many, many times before in my discussions with psychologists as well, which is that they can't be changed. They really can't be rehabilitated. And I love his quote. He says, "You cannot train a pit bull to become a French poodle." Yep. If you hire that kind of person, it's going to be a ticking time bomb. So by doing this trial, why is this guy not pleading guilty? Well, because he's going to continue to get attention. Now, isn't he? He thinks that he's controlling everybody. He's laughing at everyone because here we are, all still talking about him, all still paying attention to him. The only good thing about it is that we're all still remembering George Floyd, the person that we should be remembering, the person who was the victim in all of this. And hopefully some good is going to come of this, right? Maybe there's going to be some reform. Maybe there will be more psychological testing of police officers on the front end. But I want you to remember this, that in order to gain leverage over narcissists, you need to figure out ways that you're going to be able to hurt them or threaten to hurt what matters to them, which is narcissistic supply. I talk about that all the time. You got to have that strategy. You got to have that leverage that it's going to threaten something that matters to them, something that they care about. But guess what? Sometimes they're so malignant, like this Derek Chauvin character apparently seems to be, that they just don't see it at all and they don't really care. And that ends up becoming their undoing eventually. If you want to know more about that, definitely check out my video on the undoing of a narcissist. That is a video where I break down Hugh Grant's character in the movie The Undoing, or the series The Undoing. Definitely check that out. So either you will take them down using my strategies and figuring out how to do it, or they will end up doing it to themselves. They end up undoing themselves many, many times. So one or the other is definitely going to happen. Either way, it works out for you because they end up on the other side of this thing and you end up more powerful and more in control than you've ever been. So if you're getting ready to negotiate with a narcissist, definitely check out my free Crush My Negotiation worksheet at winmynegotiation.com. And I would love to see you make a comment on this video. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Do you think this Derek Chauvin guy is a narcissist? Definitely leave me a comment below. And if you like the video, like it, share it, and make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're new here and hit that notification bell as well. I'm Rebecca Zung. I'm so glad that you stopped by my channel. If you are just new here, stick around. Would love to help you, would love to support you through your dealings with a narcissist. That's why we do what we do. So thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you in the next video.